and show you my presentation here. So you want to have images on it. I'd say one image per slide is fine. You're only going to be sharing this with one person. So I'll have you guys online in breakout rooms, and you guys in class paired up. One of you will probably be with me. Yeah, so you just put your disease and your name. Oh, I might have to stand because my hips are kind of tight right now, but sorry, I got a trigger point in my hip. If that doesn't bother you guys, you can still see me and hear me. Right. So the first slide is the introduction slide. I would encourage you to pick a different template than mine because nobody wants to see the same template twice. Boring, right? So you can pick something kind of fun. This is the tricky part. A lot of the stuff you can find online. You don't want to just copy and paste it in there. Okay. I repeat, don't copy and paste off the internet. Put stuff in your own words, right? Nobody wants a doctor's words. If Tiana is sharing like all this information about anxiety and I have anxiety, am I going to learn if I'm a normal everyday person, not a doctor, if she's just telling me all these doctory words? Probably not. So I got the definition of what GERD is. So you want to have the definition. You want to have what the facts are about your disease or disorder. So you don't have to have this. You can pick something that interests you. It doesn't have to be something you have. And you want to have your sources at the bottom of every page. So for instance, I found this definition on mayoclinic.org. So I put the website down here. And then I also found these facts on 14 surprising facts about heartburn and GERD. So some people are like, well, how do you even find that stuff? Well, I went to Google and I typed in, what is the definition of GERD? I found it. I put it in my own words, and then I copied and pasted the website link. How did you find facts about GERD, Miss Amanda? Well, I searched interesting facts about GERD. Most people know that gastroesophageal is related to acid reflux, or maybe you didn't know, but you know today. A lot of people know acid reflux is like having dragon breath, fiery breath, okay? Well, what makes it interesting? So I looked up interesting facts, and I actually found some that stand out to me. The most interesting was, you would think peppermint gum would be good for reflux, but peppermint is actually very heating for a lot of people. I chew peppermint gum occasionally, and it's okay, but straight up peppermint can cause my reflux to get worse because it has that pepper quality to it too. I also learned that some medications, such as allergy medication, can lead to heartburn. Don't know if you knew that. I used to be on that Zyrtec or whatever, and I got acid reflux. As soon as I got off that, I mean, I get stuff in the nose now. I don't really have it as much anymore. I'm no doctor though. So this isn't to replace a doctor's whatever. Yeah. Okay, so the second slide, I don't want to go too quick. Do you guys have any question on the first slide, what it's talking about? I know that most of this class is based on our feelings, our emotions, or like all that touchy-feely stuff. And that's great, right? Our triggers, what makes us angry. But this is our health unit. So that's why we did all those physical activities, and that's why we do this final project, is so essentially we get our health credit part. So this is where a lot of health standards come in. Any questions online or in person about definition and facts? So pretty much, what is it and what's some interesting facts about it? The second slide, really like that picture. Symptoms are like signs that you might have it. So hello, somebody there? Oh man. Come on. Okay, it's over now. I was like, come on. Okay. But yeah, like how would someone suppose that they might have something? Now that's not saying everybody who has a symptom has acid reflux. It's just things a doctor might look for or you might think about. Like even COVID, we have this list in the bathroom. This is like, hey, if you have a hoarse voice or a sore throat, you might have it. Doesn't mean you for sure have it. It's just things you might want to consider. Like, hey, I might have that. I might want to go to the doctor for that. Diagnosis. Does anyone know what diagnosis means? It's kind of close to symptoms. Who would give a diagnosis? Would like I, as a health teacher, give you a diagnosis, or would a doctor do that? Let's be real, a teacher's not going to do that. Okay, it's not in my scope. I can educate you on stuff, but I can't do that. A diagnosis comes from a doctor. So how does a doctor tell that someone has acid reflux? So they can do a scope, they can measure your acid levels. They can also do an x-ray of the esophagus and stomach. And then I put my sources down here. You don't need a ton of sources. I don't need like different websites for each slide. I found a lot of my stuff on the same exact website. So any questions about symptoms or things you might feel, and diagnosis, what the doctor does or uses? Okay, this slide is prevention. What does prevention mean? Okay, well, some diseases, disorders, etc., are not necessarily people's fault, I guess. They're not always preventable. Yet, usually, there are some sort of steps we could take to prevent it from getting worse, or even if I'm more susceptible to maybe depression because maybe someone in my family, has it, or maybe I've had certain things happen in my childhood that has led towards that. Even if I'm more susceptible or more likely to have it, what are some ways I could prevent myself from getting it in the first place? So prevention usually is helpful if you know your family medical history, or if you know that you've had a lot of trauma in life or things happened. What are some ways that are preventative before maybe having to go to your doctor, or in conjunction? So a lot of mental health related stuff. Therapy is a good one that relates to prevention. For someone with acid reflux, let's say I experience it, instead of going immediately for the Tums or the pills, right? I might say, hey, what diet and lifestyle changes can I make? Maybe I need to drink less coffee or alcohol, or I need to avoid spicy foods, carbonation, quitting smoking, losing weight. There's a lot of different preventatives. Remaining upright for 3 hours after eat. By no means am I trying to say that any of you guys who struggle with anything, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault or that it could have been prevented, but technically a lot of diseases and disorders come from, it could be genetics, it could be stress, it could be our environmental factors. So there's a lot of things that are not necessarily preventable, but what are some ways it could be prevented for others? Treatment of symptoms, that would be, how do I handle it when I already have it? So if I had acid reflux, Tums, lifestyle changes can still be a treatment. Maybe I have a prescription, which I did have at one point. Some people with acid reflux actually have to have surgery to like tie the esophagus somehow. I don't know how it works, but then the acid won't come up as much. And then you really would want to treat it because it can lead to something called Barrett's esophagus. This last slide, I thought I did, but I guess I forgot to do it. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you when you're sharing your presentation, but I'll go ahead and tell you what should be on it, and then I promise I'll get it updated. So this is the last slide, I think, but you want to have one local, one state, and one national resource. So what is a local resource? What does that mean? Is it in the city, state, or country? Anyone know what local means? Yeah, it's right here in your good old Lafayette, or maybe it's in the surrounding Lafayette area. A state resource would obviously be good old Indiana. And national would be our country. Some people have found an international resource across the globe, something that's available to everyone. So that's helpful. I do want to let you know that some people will say, oh, for national, I picked the University of Tennessee's research hospital. Okay, you have to ask yourself, am I putting a random hospital in Tennessee, or am I putting a resource that's available to everybody? Right? So if it's just a regular hospital in another state that I'm probably not going to go to, that's different than maybe someone here who goes to, you know, if you went to Riley Children's Hospital, that's meant for people in throughout the state, right? Or at least this area. So that might be a state resource. So a national resource can be something simple, like if you're doing mental health, National Alliance of Mental Illness, I think that's what it stands for, NAMI. That's a good one. National resources can be Facebook groups or websites that give information. And essentially, what you're going to do for your resources, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed or overthink it, okay? Because I overthink stuff. You're going to get what their phone number is. Where are they? Like what city and what city and state? What do they offer is pretty self-explanatory. Like what kind of services, counseling, do they offer MRIs? Do they offer cancer services? What do they offer? And then the referral process, does anybody know what a referral process is? So you have an idea on it?
Yeah, you have to go to like a medical professional, and then they have to refer you to someone, or you can't see them.
Perfect, yeah. Yeah, that's great, Jade. So I want you to do some digging on, if you put IU Arnett as the local, get their phone number, get the location, you know, Lafayette, Indiana, write down what they offer. The referral process would be like, what do they require before you can even walk in the door? If you're going to a general hospital, there's probably not that big a referral process. You probably just call and make an appointment. But if I want to go to this specific hospital for or specific clinic for breast cancer, I can't just roll up in there. I probably have to have some sort of diagnosis or a doctor that thinks I might have it. So a lot of people will start at their general doctor, but some hospitals don't require referrals. So if you can't find it on their website anywhere, I know some of us might have phone call anxiety, which is a real thing. Chelsea and I were talking about it. You can, a lot of them have text lines or emails, and you can ask them. If you seriously can't find and you want a phone call, you can call them on your phone and I can talk to them and show you how it's done. I'm pretty good at talking to people on the phone though. It's a good life skill, to be honest, because sometimes you got to call a cable company. So quick phone call or Facebook. A lot of companies or hospitals have their own Facebook pages like, hey, what's your referral process? Or just find it on their website. Yeah, I know some of you guys have experiences already working with hospitals and some of us don't have very many. But yeah, it can be a simple phone call or you might be able to find it on their website, but I don't want anyone to feel anxious about that part. The conclusion slide I put on here, you can either do a collage of images that represent your disease, disorder, etc. So if you're really like an artsy person and you want to put a collage of images, you can do that. What else could you do? Let's say I picked acid reflux, which I did, and I have acid reflux, right? So I could write my own personal story or battle with acid reflux on this last slide, which I didn't do, but I probably should. Another option is you could play a video of a certain treatment or a certain visit to a certain hospital if you wanted to do that. You could put a video of a doctor explaining through what acid reflux is or the many options available. I like the collage, the picture collage idea. stacking the images on top of each other. I think I'm just gonna make my conclusion really simple right now. And I would obviously share this with my partner. So struggled with GERD 20, probably got it 2014 to 2019. And I've been without medication since I kind of started weaning myself off, but it was like, I worked at Purdue August 2018. I got off probably March 2019 completely, and I weaned myself off, but I used it. I had a doctor help me. I'm gonna put with doctor help. No, I'm not advising you to get off your medication. I'm just doing my conclusion slide based on my own personal experience. But my GERD was due to stress. So meditation, deep breathing, taking walks with my dogs, etc. have helped me. So your conclusion could be something simple like that. And I'd probably put a picture on here. But if you pick something that you struggle with, just remember you're only sharing with one person. So if you want to be vulnerable and you're like, hey, I'm only going to be talking to that one person in the class and you're comfortable sharing, that's more than fine. If you're not comfortable sharing, feel free to just do a collage, or I know some of you draw, you can do a drawing instead that represents your disease or illness you chose. And so Ronnie, you're hopping on now. This is just a presentation of any disease or disorder of your choosing. So I actually recorded myself going through a presentation, and I'm going to post it on my YouTube, and you can watch the replay there or ask questions if you'd like.